Today we're going to be talking about the Holocaust. So we're going to start with talking about the beginning. So the Nazis took a systematic approach to persecuting the Jews and other racial and ethnic groups. The Nuremberg laws removed the rights and the citizenship of Jewish Germans. So Jewish people were no longer considered Germans. Kristallnacht was an event in 1938 in which Nazi stormtroopers, their military, destroyed property and terrorized Jewish families in Vienna, Austria. Many Jews tried to flee the United States, but their numbers were too great and there were strict limits to immigration during the Great Depression. So let's look at, so here's the Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht is a German word meaning crystal night or night of the broken glass. On November 9th, 1938, Nazis throughout Germany and Austria and in the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia attacked Jews and completely destroyed their property. In some parts of the country, the attacks continued for several days. You can see that this place is completely bombed out and burned. Kristallnacht is an example of a pogrom, which is an organized massacre of helpless people. Pogrom is a Yiddish word derived from Russian that means devastation. The violence was sparked by the shooting of a German diplomat, Ernst von Roth, by a Polish Jewish student in Paris. Hitler used the shooting as a pretext for the spontaneous murder of Jews and destruction of their property. When the violence subsided, more than 1,000 synagogues have been destroyed and about 7,500 Jewish businesses, as well as Jewish homes, cemeteries, hospitals, and schools have been vandalized and looted. About 30,000 Jewish males were arrested and sent to concentration camps. 6 days after Kristallnacht, Jews were prohibited from attending school. By the end of 1938, Jews had become virtual prisoners in their own homes, banned from most public spaces in Germany. Hitler and the Nazis viewed Jews as an inferior race and they blamed them for World War I. Nearly 6 million Jewish people were killed by the Nazis. Millions of other people, including those who opposed Nazi rule, were also killed. The Nuremberg laws were the laws that stripped Jews of citizenship and prohibited them from marrying other Germans. The Jews were also barred from voting or holding public office. And the Jews with German names were required to adopt names that were considered Jewish. Jewish passports were marked with a red J. They were also barred from working as civil servants, teachers, journalists, farmers, and actors. They were barred from practicing law and medicine or owning businesses. In the review of Kristallnacht, November 7, 1938, a Jewish refugee killed a German diplomat in Paris. Hitler ordered retaliatory attacks against Jews, and on November 9th, the violence broke out in Austria and Germany. And the Gestapo arrested 30,000 Jewish men and released only those who surrendered their property and immigrated, meaning they left the country. This is a very powerful poem by a German Jew, Martin Niemöller. They came first for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up. So to me, this poem really signifies that if we see an atrocity being had, or if we see somebody being persecuted that should not be persecuted, that did not commit any crimes, we need to speak up. We need to step in because we need to make sure that there is justice in this world. So this is where a lot of the Jews were sent, were ghettos. In 1944, Eli Wiesel was taken to a concentration camp. In the excerpt below, he describes his wait during a move from one camp to another in 1944. The snow fell thickly. We were forbidden to sit down or even to move. The snow began to form a thick layer over our blankets. They brought us bread, the usual ration. We threw ourselves upon it. Someone had the idea of appeasing his thirst by eating the snow. Soon the others were imitating him. As we were not allowed to bend down, everyone took out his spoon and ate the accumulated snow off his neighbor's back. A mouthful of bread and a spoonful of snow. The SS guards who were watching laughed at the spectacle. As part of their plan to exterminate all the Jews in Europe, the Nazis set up ghettos in German-occupied territory. Jews were herded into these ghettos to await deportation to the death camps and eventual execution. The ghetto in Warsaw, Poland encompassed about 840 acres and had a population close to 500,000. It was originally cordoned off with barbed wire, and eventually the Nazis enclosed it behind a brick wall 10 feet tall and 11 miles long. Soon the population of the ghetto fell to 50,000 people because they were moving them to the death camps. The Jews realized that their only hope for salvation was to resist the Nazi death machinery. The Jewish Fighting Organization was born and seized control of the ghetto. In January of 1943, SS Chief Heinrich Himmler ordered the deportation of another 8,000 Jews, and the resistance sprang into action. The Jews refused to assemble and board the trains to the Treblinka death camp, and Himmler withdrew. 3 months later, Himmler launched an invasion of the ghetto. The invasion, expected to last 3 days, stretched on for a month. At the end, many Jewish fighters chose suicide over surrender. Of the Jews who were captured, 7,000 were shot and some 22,000 were sent to death camps. As a final outrage, SS Major General Jürgen Stroop ordered the Great Synagogue of Warsaw dynamited. This is a Jewish store window. They yanked out every drawer in every one of our chests and cupboards and tossed each in the air. They let the cutlery jangle across the floor, the clothes scatter, and stepped over the mess to fling the next drawer. "We might be back," the leader said. On the way out, he threw our mother-of-pearl ashtray over his shoulder like confetti. We did not speak or move or breathe until we heard their boots against the pavement. Anti-Semitic prejudice in Germany was prevalent in the decades leading up to World War II. By 1939, Jews were required to wear 6-pointed yellow stars with the word Hud, or risk execution. Hud is German for Jew. On September 15, 1935, the German Reich adopted the Nuremberg Laws. Under these laws, Jews were not persecuted for their religion, but for their ethnicity. Jews were stripped of their German citizenship and forbidden to marry Germans. Under the Nuremberg Laws, Jews had to adopt more Jewish-sounding names. They lost all legal protections. Jewish physicians and business owners were forced to abandon their practices, and Jewish passports were stamped with the red J for Yehud. Oops. Make sure you guys can still see that. There we go. So these are some of the trains that the Jews were transported on to the death camps and to the ghettos. Jews were transported to the Nazi death camps in cattle cars. People were allowed to only bring what they could carry. They did not know that their possessions would be confiscated as soon as they arrived. Upon arrival at the camps, the trains would be unloaded and the people selected. Some were chosen to be worked to death, while the rest were immediately moved to the gas chambers. They moved small children that were too young to work or feeble. They moved old people or people that just were not able to physically work. From 1942 to 1944, European Jews arrived frequently at the notorious death camp at Auschwitz-Birkenau. Historians estimate that 426,000 people were shipped from Hungary, 300,000 people from Poland, 69,000 from France, and another 250,000 from other European countries. So this is German citizens touring Buchenwald. Buchenwald was originally built to hold political prisoners. After Kristallnacht, roughly 10,000 Jews were sent to the camp. They were subjected to such inhumane treatment upon arrival that more than 200 died shortly thereafter. Many German citizens denied any knowledge of the Holocaust, which was accurate in most cases. The Nazis considered the killings a state secret and only spoke about it among themselves in code. The Allied liberators of Buchenwald wanted German civilians to see firsthand the horrific evil their leaders had unloosed on European peoples. After viewing the effects of Nazi atrocities, denial of the Holocaust was impossible. And these are still the dead bodies of the Jewish people that were killed. So now I'm going to show you this video of the Auschwitz camp. Make sure the volume's up.
14 people of my family perished there. So if people say it's about time, it's a long time ago, Hannah, could you forget and forgive? I said, no. I have no mandate from these people to forgive and forget their deaths.
In October 1944, Anna Maria Pravda and her husband were taken by train to Auschwitz. They were Jews.
When we arrived to Auschwitz, they chased us out of the wagons. The children were shifted to one side. The old people, or the sick-looking people, went with them, and they called it over the rails. Over the rails meant straight into the gas chambers. They started to divide men from women. I remember the last glimpse of my husband, and I shouted after him, find some friends, find some friends. And until today, I'm sorry I didn't shout, come back. We walked in this narrow corridor between two wire fences. And on the right-hand side, I remember, was a girl, a Slovak girl, who shouted, give us bread, give us bread. And the man next to me, the SS man, shot her in the stomach. We were pushed into barracks, stripped of everything we were wearing. And some SR women came in and started to shave our heads. And the woman who was shaving my head, no water, no soap, nothing. And she suddenly looked at my boots, which were very solid boots, and she whispered in my ears. She said, if you give me these boots before they get lost among all the others, I'll leave you the second part of your head unshaved. The girls who knew more than I did explained to me about the gas chambers, and I didn't want to believe it. I said, no, it's hysterics, no, can't be. It helped for a moment, I think. Then we saw the orange sky every day, which was the flames from the crematorium. I was madly in love with my husband, and I felt mentally strong, very strong. I was hoping and expecting to the last moment that my husband will be coming back. I found out that on the 20th of April, 45, just about 2 weeks before the end of the war, Sasha, that was the name of my husband, got pneumonia on this open wagon and heart failure. Just died among the corpses. One very strange thing I have no dreams. When I was in that concentration camp, I had the most wonderful dreams. I was dreaming that I'm traveling on a luxury train to Paris, and all these lovely, lovely, peaceful dreams. But since the war, no dreams. For myself, I call it a merciful curtain.
All right, so now what you're going to do is go into Canvas, complete the reading essentials, the discussion question, and the quiz, and then also work on the Edgenuity module assigned for today. And I'll talk to you guys later.